another episode of Video Game Logic. Today's episode was recorded on December the 17th, 2019. I'm your host, Gaming Psychologist, and with me, as always, the notably noble...
The Caffeine Rage.
On today's show, things are going to be a little bit different. We're going to be discussing the 2019 Game Awards winners. We're going to be talking about Sony's controller add-on that turns any Dualshock 4 into a high-end gaming pad, at least according to them. We'll be having a Steam Discovery queue. Timestamps will be in the show notes following their respective topics. Hello, Rage.
Hello. Well, this is going to be an interesting one. On my end, you're breaking up badly right now.
Well, that's no bueno. If that continues, I guess I can try restarting Discord. My thing is green. My ping is lean. And you sound perfectly fine on my end.
Yeah, I am seeing a bit of a high ping tonight.
You mean to the server?
Yeah, to the server. Yeah, so let's do a little bit of management and move us there. Oh, that boots Craig out. That's good to know. No, Craig, come back.
Yay, we got Craig back.
Yeah, well, that knocked a good 30 off the lag.
Yep.
And hey, you got some editing to do. But let's be honest, you're not going to edit this out. So, hello, folks.
Hello. How are you doing today, Rage?
I'm doing all right. It was, pretty, kind of a boring day, actually. A lot of rain, a lot of cold weather, a lot of gray, a lot of dull, and a lot of waiting on packages from UPS.
Yeah, fair enough. Honestly, not too different for me, aside from, having to talk to a lot of people from a jab. I did sacrifice my ears to the gods of screeching for my kids' yearly Christmas program at school.
They do make some pretty, neutral colored earplugs.
Yes, they do.
Just, scratch your ear, slip one in.
Silence. This year wasn't as bad as last year, so I will take a silver lining where I can. But, I mean, if you think my singing is bad, imagine, 40 kids between the ages of 4 and 9 singing. It's not good. Granted, maybe I know at least a couple of people in our audience are parents, so you know exactly what I mean. We shall commiserate. For everyone else, it's terrible. Don't ever let anyone talk you into going. Unless they promise you sex or money. That would be okay.
Well, then you're just a whore. Which is, not new for you, Jared.
Yeah. Gotta earn a living.
Yeah, and $5 is $5, right?
Indeed. So, the reason that we're not doing any games we played this week is that other than the Game Club game, we haven't played any games this week that are new. We did play...
Yeah, of note, I should say. I mean, I had a busy weekend with my girlfriend's niece's archery tournament. So, yeah. That ate a bit of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was no screeching, though.
No. Well, that's good. I'm glad.
Yeah, if there was screeching, that means somebody missed. Or hit. Depending on your point of view.
Yeah. We played a little more Halo Reach, but I don't know if we'll talk about that again until maybe we beat it.
Yeah,
but,
so... I guess moving on to our first news topic, question mark?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the 2019 The Game Awards. Discuss the winners. They had the show last Thursday, and it's Thursday, December the 12th. So in between two recordings, although we didn't even mention the nominations prior, I don't think. I mean, you and I briefly discussed it, but...
Yeah, but we never went in depth on it because There was not a lot of news, and it was just going to go down the list. And honestly, it's better just to go down the list whenever we have the winners, at least in this case.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to talk about nominations, the Steam Awards also is... I'm not sure if they released all the categories yet, but they've been releasing categories as well. And I've got a couple of picks on there. I nailed a couple of them.
I haven't looked at what they've released so far.
Yeah, I got Disco Elysium on one of my Disco Elysium pick. I nailed that.
I figured Disco Elysium would be up there.
Well, it's up for voting, I should say. It hasn't won yet, but the fact that I got it...
Yeah.
I felt good about that one. So, they're doing the same thing that every other award show is doing, and they're putting Game of the Year at the top. And I think we should tackle these in reverse order because of that.
I was going to ask if you wanted to do it in reverse order because they put Game of the Year at the top. I kind of get why they're doing that. People who are just headline surfing, that's the one most people are interested in. So it's like, oh, put that right at the top. They know it, and they leave. And then for the people who are really interested, they'll stick around no matter where you had it. So
yeah, although going all the way to the bottom, we're looking at the VR AR game, and honestly, I mean, this was my pick for the Valve one or for the Steam Awards. So yeah, the game that won VR AR Game of the Year,
Beat Saber. So that's good. I haven't played Beat Saber. The only game that was on the whole list that I had played was No Man's Sky, and I hadn't played it in VR.
Yeah, I haven't really heard of really any of these. I think Blooded Truth, that's the spy one, which honestly I completely forgot about, but Beat Saber is kind of the no-brainer. I mean, it's kind of the most popular one out of all this. So, and let's be honest, these award shows are just giant popularity contests in the end.
Usually, yeah. The next category, strategy game. Fire Emblem Three Houses was the winner.
Yeah, which is interesting. I would say that's kind of the more niche one out of this, outside of maybe Wargroove, because Total War is a very established franchise. Tropico is a very established franchise. And Age of Wonders is a Paradox game, so, it has a good pedigree. And Anno 1800 is, a Ubisoft Anno game.
Yeah.
I realize Fire Emblem has a long pedigree as well, but it's still a Nintendo property, and it's still very kind of under the radar for, maybe for me. Maybe that's the thing, is that I'm looking at this not objectively. I'm looking at this as primarily a PC gamer that really can't play Fire Emblem outside of emulation.
Yeah, well, several of the most recent Fire Emblem games have been on mobile as well, although they're not as good. A lot of them are the gacha style game.
Well, I was talking about a mainline Fire Emblem game. I don't count those.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's why I don't play them.
Yeah, and I don't know as much about the Fire Emblem series as I do these others, but I mean, I have played a couple of the older Fire Emblem games. I like Fire Emblem. If Three Houses is, very much like the older Fire Emblem games, I could see why it would be a winner. They're a good game series. They're a good strategy game series, and they've got a lot of fun a lot of fun other little things in it. They've got an interesting permadeath system, relationship building. You can kind of have. It had something that made it feel kind of like the Nemesis system before the Nemesis system was a thing. Based on the relationships that you built throughout the game, you might develop rivals or partners or even marriages in some of them. So, all in all, pretty neat.
Yeah. And honestly, I haven't played Age of Wonders yet. I do have it on Game Pass. I've been meaning to try it out. And Wargroove is an oddball in this as well, but Anno, Total War, and Tropico are kind of just more the same. So I do see why they would have picked one of the oddballs, actually. So, talking about another oddball to win, the sports and racing game, which, let's be honest, it's, soccer and racing, right?
Yeah.
Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled one out of this, which is an odd one, and actually got some criticism for putting in microtransactions after the reviews. So, go ahead.
I'm not all that surprised that it won, just because I remember when it was announced and then released, up until it put the microtransaction system in, huge wave of like nostalgia, love, and then critics, and a lot of them, at least a lot of the critics that I follow, were like, I mean, it's an HD version of the old Crash Team Racing game, which is fine, I guess, but people love nostalgia, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other ones it was up against was Dirt Rally 2.0, eFootball Pro Evolution Soccer 2020, F1 2019, and FIFA 20. So it actually didn't. I really don't think it had that great a competition because FIFA's gotten so much criticism for being more of the same and nickel and diming. I don't know much about Pro Evolution Soccer. Dirt Rally is supposedly really good, but F1 2019 has been kind of meh, from what I can tell. More of the same.
Yeah, I haven't played it or followed it very much, the new F1 game. Next up the list, score and music. The winner of that being Death Stranding.
Who's surprised? Anyone? All right.
I haven't. Yeah, the soundtrack for Death Stranding was one of the things that I heard being pretty much universally praised by reviewers. So I've heard kind of hit and miss things based on what you're into for that game, but every review I listened to or watched or read was like the soundtrack's great. So, but yeah, no surprise there. Although, it did have one piece of stiff competition in Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, there was other competition, but in this category, for what's nominated, Kingdom Hearts is probably the only other real competition. So.
Yeah, it's Kingdom Hearts, well, we'll get to that. But the other ones were Devil May Cry 5, Kingdom Hearts 3, Senria Wild Hearts, which is one I'd never heard of, Cadence of Hyrule, which is another one I actually don't recognize that one. Mobile title?
No, Cadence of Hyrule is
or is that the
what's the go ahead.
The fight the entire army.
No, Cadence of Hyrule is the shit. I can't think of what's the rhythm kind of roguelite RPG where it's like
Crypt of the Necrodancer
in time with the music. Yes, it's like that. Thank you. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Cadence of Hyrule is basically Zelda themed Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Yeah, and this is going to be an interesting episode because you're breaking up again. But let's go for it, all right?
All right.
It'll be interesting to see what the Craig recordings are like. So, role-playing game. I would say this one was the big surprise for me, just going over everything. The winner was Disco Elysium. And it was up against some really stiff competition. It was up against Final Fantasy XIV, which had an expansion, that one was nominated. Kingdom Hearts 3, which was, waited for what, a decade?
Yeah.
Monster Hunter World Iceborne and The Outer Worlds. So 2 continuations of some pretty major games, a sequel to that's been waited for ages, and it's a continuation of a franchise that has, 30, 40 games at this point. And a game that's been pretty universally praised for its storytelling. And it beat it all. I mean, that has to be a major upset.
Yeah, that says something huge about the quality of Disco Elysium. I'm very impressed by that. Next category up. Oh, good. This is one of the ones that's involves real people. So performance, the best performance. It says awarded individual for voice acting, motion, and/or performance capture. So the winner is Mads Mikkelsen as Cliff from Death Stranding. Mads Mikkelsen, big time Hollywood actor. The thing that I most recognize him for was his role in Star Wars Rogue One. But, I mean, he is like a career actor, so he's been in a lot of stuff. Other people, Ashley Birch, who was Parvati in The Outer Worlds. Courtney Hope as Jessie Faden in Control, or maybe Jess. Laura Bailey as Kate Diaz in Gears 5. Matthew Peretta as Dr. Casper, also in Control. And then Norman Reedus as Sam Porter in Death Stranding.
So he beat out the main character in Death Stranding. That says something, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Mads, when I looked at this, because I did look at the nominations, looking at this one, I was like, it's going to be either Mads Mikkelsen or Norman Reedus. Like, Hollywood actors are very oftentimes winners in this category. I don't necessarily think, or these types of categories, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but name recognition kind of gives them a boost. Because it's like,
this also isn't just people's choice. This is picked by a board that's a lot of games media, and honestly, I'm a little shocked that some more of the mainstream game players are not in this, or wasn't pulled. But I mean, he must have done a hell of a performance. I haven't played Death Stranding, and honestly don't really have an interest in it, but right.
I'm super interested. I'm not sure how much of that is a curiosity versus me actually being interested in it, but it's one of those things. It's like, it was such a big deal for so long. Like, I have to experience it. So, at some point, I'll get it and play it.
You just want to find out what the Butt Baby's about, right?
That is very true. I do, and I have a huge crush on Norman Reedus.
And his butt.
Definitely his butt. Yeah.
So you're saying that it could be an ongoing crush?
I see what you did there. But yes.
Ongoing game. Awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. I mean, Fortnite won. I mean, I don't really have that much of a problem with Fortnite winning this, because they have been able to capture a player base for a long time. And they've done major events. They've at the Game Awards, they announced that they were having a event where you could watch a clip of the new Star Wars movie in game before it released for a very short period of time. They've had a concert in game that set a record for the most attendance of a concert. I mean, they've done a lot to try to keep the player base going, while still really not doing much gameplay wise. So, I mean, it's still a battle royale. You're still doing the same basic thing. And honestly, some of it is kind of obnoxious where, it's, you have to deal with people that's no life and can build an entire city around themselves in, 1/10 of a second, right?
Yeah.
So say what you will about Epic Games, but they, they're kind of the big player right now when it comes to ongoing content.
They certainly have managed to stay relative.
Yeah, stay relevant for quite a while, actually. So the other options were Apex Legends, which that fell off the map real quickly. Destiny 2, which has done okay. It's done a lot better since its Steam release, from what I could tell. Final Fantasy 14, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, which it's kind of funny that, I mean, I'm a little shocked that we didn't see. Actually, Warframe would have been a good contender here, honestly, especially since they had an announcement about Warframe at the thing, right?
I mean, I didn't know. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, they announced the new spaceship mode.
Ah, Nice.
Yeah, it's live, by the way. And it's a hell of a grind to get one. But that's Warframe for you. So, moving on to narrative.
Indeed. So narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Winner for the second time so far in the show, Disco Elysium. Again, basically everything that you said for RPG, like it's got some stiff competition. Death Stranding, Outer Worlds, Plague Tale, and Control being its competition. Of those four, Death Stranding and the Outer Worlds are the big not competition, but the bigger standouts. But Plague Tale Innocence, I heard a lot about earlier in this year, with the type of storytelling that it told and sort of the time period that it told the story within. Control, I heard a lot of bad to mediocre things about the gameplay, but that the story and the backstory and everything were really strong in that game. So for Disco Elysium to beat them all again speaks huge volume. A lot of praise.
I would say the fact that it beat a Kojima game. I mean, that says a lot. Because say what you will about how convoluted, head scratching, and ass pulley Kojima games can be, they are very strong on their narrative, and Disco Elysium beat them. I mean, that says a lot. So, on to multiplayer game.
Indeed.
For outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre and or platform. So, Apex Legends won this one. I mean, this is kind of weird because you would think, ongoing game, would also be here, but no, they're not even nominated. So the other options are Borderlands 3, which honestly, everything I've heard, it launched with a bit of a wreck, at least on PC. It's one of those times that, maybe the Epic Store is not a bad idea. It's beta testing. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which has its monetization problems once again. Tetris 99, which is Battle Royale Tetris. And Tom Clancy's The Division 2.
Tetris 99 is really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very odd but neat game. You're essentially massively competitive Tetris. I mean, that is fascinating. And honestly, I would say, kind of the standout of odd game here. Because all the other ones are just more the same. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And for a short time there, Tetris 99 was the game to beat. It was all over the place, and then it dropped off.
Yeah. Next, mobile game. The winner of that, Call of Duty Mobile, which I have not played, and I have no intention to. And it went up against Grindstone, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sky Children of the Light, and What the Golf. Yeah. None of these games I have heard of outside of Call of Duty Mobile.
I was going to say...
And I'm not going to play that one.
I hadn't really heard of any of these, and a couple of them look interesting, but it's also the fact that, we're dealing with mobile, so, interesting could be a little deceiving. And, right. I want to take a look at some of these later on, though.
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at Sayonara.
Grindstone looks like it could be a roguelite. Or a hack and slash. Let me actually take a look at that one real quick.
And Sayonara is not on the Google Play Store.
Neither is Grindstone. Or at least I can find. It's Apple and only. This is kind of odd, isn't it? Grindstone is a match 3.
Oh well.
Alright, now I gotta see Sky Children of Light. Oh, hey, at least that one's on Google Play. As a pre-release, it's not even out. What the fuck?
Of course. So, next up the list, independent game. And it was Disco Elysium again. So that's 3 for Disco Elysium.
Yeah.
Once again, beating Outer Wilds. Thank God it beat Untitled Goose Game.
You have a beef with that one?
It's just annoying.
It's a meme at this point, and I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah. And then it also beat Katana Zero and Baba Is You, neither which of these games I have seen.
Oh, I remember I brought up Baba Is You during our nominations for the Steam Awards. I think it was for innovative gameplay.
Okay.
I mean, at its heart, it's a very simple game. It's a pusher type puzzler.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that gameplay can quickly change based on how you rearrange things, because this is the one that there's sentences in the world. So, like in the screenshot there, you can see key is open, and key is, and it's obfuscated by the title. If you move that key is open, you can make it where key is closed, and it would automatically open up all the doors. Or it would do something else. And it's a very interesting take on things. So, yeah. But I could definitely see why Disco Elysium's got it, because it's supposedly really, really good.
Yeah. Okay. Next one up.
Games for Impact.
For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Winner of this one is Gree. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. I don't think it's Gris. I think it's Gree. And if I remember correctly, this is the game that's about a trans woman? I believe a trans woman, and sort of her journey in dealing with suicidal thoughts and coming to terms with her gender dysphoria. I believe that's
I don't
what Gree
see
is.
anything about trans on the game store, but that could, that could be a twist. Gree is a hopeful young girl is lost in her own world, dealing with the painful experience in her life. Her journey through sorrow is manifested in her dress, which grants her abilities to better navigate her fated reality.
Yeah. Okay. So that might not be the specific stated impact. The person that I remember talking about it said that they got the impression that this character was trans, but maybe that's something that the character is designed in such a way where you can write any number of hardships into, and then sort of her journey of overcoming that. I haven't played it, so I can't speak to that any more concretely. But it went up against Concrete Genie, Kind Words, Life is Strange 2, and Sea of Solitude.
Yeah, which I've heard mixed things about Life is Strange 2. It's not supposedly as good as the first, and some people are saying that they've missed the point of the first one. But I haven't played it yet, so I can't confirm. Sea of Solitude is about loneliness. Kind Words is probably the most interesting one out of this. Or the oddest, I should say. Have you heard about it?
That was the one where you wrote messages, right? And then people...
Yeah,
I got to see the messages.
Yeah, you write messages back and forth and talk. I mean, I've seen a few apps do the same thing, but never on PC, and this got a lot of traction because of it. And I don't recognize Concrete Genie.
Yeah, I also don't recognize Concrete Genie.
PlayStation 4 game.
That's probably why. Okay. Next category. Game Direction. Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design.
So, anybody surprised on this winner?
The winner is Death Stranding. Yeah. Kojima definitely directing it up.
Yeah, even though I have no idea what the fuck, he directed it.
He sure did. It went up against Sekiro's Shadows Die Twice, Outer Wilds, Resident Evil 2, the remake, and Control. Haven't played most of those other games.
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't played any of the other games.
I mean, it's Kojima, so, he's basically the Spielberg of game direction right now, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, actually, that's probably a good comparison. Actually, no, I think I would compare him more to James Cameron. Does it really big every once in a while, spends shitloads of money on technology that is supposed to be innovative, but has got a 50-50 chance of just being a gimmick.
Yeah, and then spends a lot of time in the ocean. So, next up, I'll take the next one. It's the fresh indie game presented by Subway. Jared, you may want to reconsider your being associated with Subway right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways.
It's Disco Elysium.
Yeah. On this one.
It's Disco Elysium again. Let's just quickly get out of here. Or I should say the developer behind it. It was for the new independent studio that released its first game in 2019. So Disco Elysium won again.
Yep.
And they were up against, once again, some pretty tough competition. They were up against Gris, My Friend Pedro, Outer Wilds, Slay the Spire, and Untitled Goose Game. So, yeah, I mean, some actually really good games. And then there was Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah. Untitled Goose Game.
I shouldn't pick on it. I mean, it is a very accurate goose simulator. Because geese are dicks.
Yeah, you honk a lot and you're an asshole. Alrighty. Next up, fighting game for the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. The winner, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I have actually played. So, yay me. And
is it the Ultimate? This is the one that has literally the entire roster, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone. Whenever they announced it last year, they basically started off, acting like there was going to be one or two of the old roster. And then they kept going and going and going and going.
It's got like 80 characters in it or something like that. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I like Smash Brothers. I've always liked Smash Brothers. Ultimate was pretty neat. I still play Fox, despite having all the new characters. Still play Fox. It does have a really cool game mode where you do like really quick head-to-head fights against another person, and it randomly assigns each of you a fighter, and every round eliminates the fighters. So like regardless of who wins or loses the round, those two fighters are now gone, and it just goes through all of the fighters like that, and whoever wins the most wins overall. That was pretty neat because matches last maybe a minute tops.
So about half an hour for the entire mode.
Yeah. But, it's randomized, so you could get different characters every time. And obviously, you're going head-to-head against an opponent, so. But the first night that I went to that D&D thing, like, they had that set up and we're playing while people were eating some pizza. And so I jumped in and I played. And I played Smash Brothers Ultimate for like 30 minutes. I won, though. I was like, I haven't played Smash Brothers since, I guess I played the Wii U, whichever one was on Wii U. But that's been several years ago. And then I won. The guy I beat, his name was Scotty. Yeah. Fuck you, Scotty. Beam this up. I actually did say that on more than one occasion.
And they invited you back? Wow.
They did. Well, I mean, I'm playing a sexy cat lady, and I'm really get into it, so.
Oh, so basically you're just laying there, exposed to the world, licking yourself. Got it.
Pretty much.
And then your character's also doing something seductive.
If I lay here, if I just lay here. All right, I'll stop. It went up against.
You would think
Kombat
after being subjected to horrible singing tonight, you'd give us a break, but no.
No, misery loves company, my dude. But yeah, it went up against Mortal Kombat 11, Samurai Showdown, Jump Force, and Dead or Alive 6.
Yeah, Jump Force is the really interesting, where it's basically all the Jump comic anime, or manga characters, but I think all of these have been converted to anime at some point. So you could do some really interesting matchups. So yeah, not a surprise that it didn't win, considering Mario. But yeah. It's fun from everything that I've seen. And speaking of Mario, let's move on to the Nintendo category, also known as the family game category. Because all these are Nintendo games. Is Nintendo the only ones putting out family games now?
Quite possibly.
So Luigi's Mansion 3 won, which is honestly a little surprising to me, because I wouldn't think Luigi's Mansion would be much of a family game, because, it's about, Luigi being scared shitless, right?
Yes. I mean, I haven't played it.
But
I think in the Luigi's Mansion series, he, has to go save Mario from all the boos. And he's got his little vacuum cleaner. He sucks up ghosts. But yeah, I mean, it was Luigi's Mansion 3 versus Smash Bros. Ultimate, Yoshi's Crafted World, which is very cute. Super Mario Maker 2, and Ring Fit Adventure.
Which I never heard of that one.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one either.
I've seen some interesting things about Super Mario Maker 2. A channel that I follow, he does some Mario Maker stuff, but also some general gaming stuff. And he's basically tries to do impossible levels or do cryptography levels in Mario Maker. This is the same one that tries to beat Mario games touching the fewest coins possible, that sort of thing. It's interesting. But yeah, I would have given it to Yoshi's Crafted World just for its cutesy, aesthetic, or Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, because who doesn't like to beat the shit out of someone, right?
Very true.
And we're coming up to the portion where we have no idea what the hell, right?
Yeah, these next few categories are sleepy.
Or
esports
boring.
Related. Boring. Perfect. Esports related. So, if you're very interested in esports, go check these out. I don't know any of these people or teams or anything, so I'm just gonna go through, and unless you want to talk about any of them, just read the category and the winner. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of interesting, the fact that League of Legends won a couple of these esports categories. Actually, 3 of them. Tells you something more about the staying power of League of Legends these days.
Yeah. But yeah, so esports team, G2 Esports, which is a League of Legends team. For esports player, Kyle Bugga Giersdorf, Fortnite.
Well, that's really rude.
Sentinels, Fortnite. Esports host, Effie, I don't know how to say that. S-Jokes? Deportier.
She's a League of Legends shoutcaster, essentially, and beauty queen and blah, 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 in the European League. I looked her up to see what she actually does, because she is a host. So.
And then I'm going to jump ahead and just go ahead. Oh, no, wait. No, there's a couple of those together. My mistake. So, yeah, we'll just get there when we get there. So then the next category, though, esports related, esports game of the year. League of Legends won that. And it went up against Fortnite, Overwatch, Dota 2, and Counter-Strike Go.
Yeah, kind of interesting that Fortnite didn't get it, considering it's pretty big on Twitch, but, it's not as big a esports. And also, Overwatch, they've really, really been pushing the esports scene on Overwatch, and just seems like it's not doing that much.
Yeah.
Which gets on to the esports event, which League of Legends took this one again.
League of Legends World Championship 2019. Good for them, I suppose. Then next, esports coach.
Well, I was going to say League of Legends has more than one entry on this as well.
Oh, they do?
Oh, never mind. I misread
they
that.
do. Oh, no, Overwatch League. Yeah.
Yeah. I misread that. Because, we saw League, right?
Right. An easy mistake to make. But the next category up, esports coach. Danny Zonic Sorensen. Astrals CSGO. I guess Astrals is his team.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, we've given more time to these categories than the award show did.
Really?
Pretty much, yeah.
Dang. All right. Next, the content creator of the year. Again, I don't know any of these people, I don't think.
That makes me feel old, doesn't it? I mean, one of them's obviously a Fortnite player because, you can see it on his shirt. And he's also the wacky one.
Yeah. The winner was somebody named Shroud. Michael Gerzisk. I'm probably saying his last name wrong.
Yeah, I want to see this one real quick. Hang on. I'm going to look him up because I should have before, but right. Let's do it live.
The wacky guy?
No, Shroud. Is he a streamer? Is he? Yeah, he's a streamer. That would explain it, right?
Yep.
And looks like he does put stuff on YouTube. Pretty generic. Well, he at least has cartoons, so it's not all him shouting. But I mean, it's basically a lot of battle royale and that sort of thing.
Gotcha. All right, that's the last of the weird people categories. So, up next, community support. Recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness. They say the winner is Destiny 2. I don't believe them.
Destiny 2? Yeah. I mean, honestly, are any of these worthy of even being nominated?
Maybe Final Fantasy 14? I don't know, since that's an MMO as opposed to a live service type thing.
I mean, Fortnite, for them, hooking people to, with different stuff, they're also really, really bad about just doing things and really bad about making things mysterious. And it's a good hook for kids, but it's, and is it a community spotlight for community support? Nope. And Ubisoft has famously had trouble.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's hilarious. And then we have audio design, which goes to Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which wasn't that being criticized for some of their gun sounds, if memory serves correctly? Or was that the previous one? Honestly, all the Call of Duties kind of blend together after a while.
Yeah, I have no idea. I know Halo was having problems with its gun sounds recently, but...
Yeah, and
I don't know about a Call of Duty game.
Yeah, and it was up against Control, Death Stranding, Gears 5, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and Circo, Shadows Die Twice. So some, very good games. It's just, right? It's a hard category to really dive into whenever you haven't really played these games.
Yeah. Next, art direction. The winner of this category is Control. I mean, I've seen screenshots and videos of Control. I mean, it's a fine-looking game, but it doesn't strike me as particularly creative or some kind of achievement.
Well, see, that's the thing is that whenever we look at art direction and oh, you forgot, it's presented by the Samsung QLED as the spokesperson by Linus Tech Tips. And no, I'm not joking. He was actually there doing multiple commercial spots for him. I mean, Linus, do you really need money that bad?
Possibly. I wonder what quantum light or quantum dot light emitting diodes, QLED.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what QLED is. OLEDs, I know. OLEDs are supposed to have deeper blacks than standard LEDs.
Well, this is blacker than black.
This one is quantum, which must mean it's better.
It's a quantum leap. And then Scott Bakula falls out of the screen and says, "Oh boy." Old reference?
I was reading about QLEDs.
Don't
They use
worry.
the word nanoparticles. Or nanocrystals. So yeah.
Marketing speak, right?
Nanocrystals. They're the future. Anyways, though, for
I thought it was
control,
Bitcoin.
Nah, Bitcoin's dead. Gotta be something else now. But yeah, it went up against Death Stranding, Gree, Sayonara, Wild Hearts, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, and Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening remake that they did, or remaster.
Yeah, which honestly, I would have given it to that just because they went in such a weird direction, but we're still paying homage to the original game. If not,
I'm not sure.
Just kissing Kojima's ass, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure which one I would have given it to. Definitely not Control, Gree, or maybe Sayonara, but not Control. Next category, action adventure game. Winner for that, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. And it went up against Borderlands 3, Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening Remake.
Yeah, well, Borderlands 3 is kind of a gimme for not doing that one because, this is about puzzle solving, combining combat with interesting gameplay. And Borderlands 3, it's a looter shooter. So, it's just there trying to hit bullet sponges, trying to get bigger guns. So, Death Stranding, I'm surprised they didn't do, but that has been kind of criticized with being very walking simulator-esque. I mean, there's not a really standout in this category because you have 2 remakes. Control, which was, as you said, panned for some of its gameplay, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of defaulted there, huh? And then we go from...
So it would seem.
Yeah, then we go from action-adventure game to just action game. For those who don't want to adventure and just have action, Devil May Cry 5 is your winner this time around. And it's up against Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Gears 5, Metro Exodus, Astral Chain, and Apex Legends. I mean, really anything to say here? Because, we have, once again, yet another, where Call of Duty's popped up. And like we've said before, Call of Duty just kind of, it exists at this point, right? Gears 5, it's interesting that they've pulled Gears of War out. So it's just, Gears 5 now, which is what people are going to call it anyway, honestly. But even though I haven't played it yet, it is on Game Pass, though. I'm surprised that Metro Exodus didn't get the adventure game. Because that is more of an adventure, isn't it? That would have... right?
Yeah, because Exodus had some open world elements to it, different ways to complete story missions, things like that, so...
Yeah, it feels like Metro Exodus is in the wrong category here. Apex Legends, they're still hanging on, from what I could tell. I mean, they're stable-esque. And I don't know Astral Chain. But it's a Nintendo game, right?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Astral Chain, but yeah, Nintendo Switch game, so I haven't played it. All right, we are up to Game of the Year. So this is the final category for the 2019 Game Awards. The winner of Game of the Year, according to these guys, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
Yeah, which I honestly don't really know a lot about it. I mean, there's... it's been passed over quite a bit. It's gotten action-adventure, but then it lost on a lot of other categories. Which is kind of odd, huh?
Yeah.
But it was up against Control. Once again, Control. Control seems to pop up a lot as well. Death Stranding, which makes sense because, once again, Kojima. Resident Evil Remaster, which... a remaster for Game of the Year, fine. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and The Outer Worlds. I mean, honestly, it feels like kind of a weak lineup.
Oh, yeah, super weak. There were a lot of people who like Sekiro, Dark Souls fans. But I hate Dark Souls, and Sekiro's even harder than Dark Souls, so no thank you. Out of the lineup, I would have expected it to go to Death Stranding or Super Smash Brothers. But, I mean, there's even games.
Well, last year, Mario won, if I recall correctly. So, Mario can't win 2 times in a row, I guess.
It's a me, Loserio. I can't win.
Well, isn't that Wario?
No, Wario says, I'm gonna win.
I mean, Control should have never been nominated for this. I mean, I'm just sitting here looking at this, and I wouldn't have put the Resident Evil remake unless they really redid it's practically a new game. Which is it? I didn't pay attention to it.
So they added a bunch of stuff, fleshed out the story, redid all of the graphics, redid some actual parts within the story itself to clear things up. It was a big overhaul. It wasn't just an HD coat of paint. It's got multiple endings, some of which were not in the original game. So they put effort in.
Yeah. It just still feels a little bit like a weak lineup. Maybe it's just the fact that they have Control there, I mean, honestly, the entire award show this time around, it felt kind of blah. Only watched about 2/3 of it, 2/3 of it, and the last part of it, really, because there was several times where they would just do a couple reveals and then would just skip over and say, oh yeah, by the way, this game won a strategy game of the year, and then move on. I mean, strategy game, that's pretty damn big, right?
Yeah. I don't know how much of this being sort of lackluster is just the general nature of the show itself, with it not being quite so much sort of, air quote, prestige type stuff.
Or the fact that we're at the end of a console generation and we're just kind of, kicking the can down the road at this point, waiting for the next big thing, which, they pretty much announced that we are going to have the next console generation by next Christmas, because they revealed the new Xbox, which looks like a giant fry cutter. And some of the trailers said that the game will be on PlayStation 5, and that will be, and those games will be out by Christmas of next year. So, yeah, maybe it's just the fact that we're at the end of a console generation, and that's just kind of putting things off,
Yeah, possibly. That does tend to happen every time there's a new console cycle.
Yeah, which it's going to make E3 really interesting. Hopefully, for once.
Very thankful I'm on PC.
I mean, I'm just really unenthused by the new look of the Series X, because they did announce it there, and I feel like I can talk about it a little bit. It just kind of looks blah, and also, why not Xbox Scarlet? That would have been so cool, right?
Yeah,
it looks like
throw away all their cool names for stupid names.
Yeah, it looks like Microsoft is joining the ranks of Nintendo. picking the worst name possible, picking the most convoluted name possible, pick the most confusing name possible, and throw away a perfectly good code word. Because we had the Revolution, we had the Dolphin from Nintendo for the GameCube and the Wii.
Right.
I can't recall the Wii U's code word, but it had to be better than Wii U. And now we have the Series X.
Indeed.
Which is supposedly twice the volume of the previous generation. I mean, was this thing just going to be a refrigerator at this point?
I mean, it's going to be like a small PC.
A small
Which
PC,
is fine.
A small PC, probably with some severe heat issues, because honestly, what they showed, there was 2 openings on it. One at the top, which had a grate over it with a green glow, and the slot for the DVDs or the whatever optical media it's putting in, Blu-rays, and that's it. There's a button. I mean, it's like a black version of an Apple rendition of a console, really.
Mm-hmm. It's a very sleek design. I mean, it's still in the prototyping stage, so at least I think it is. I think it's just like a mock-up.
No, this was the reveal.
Oh, okay. Never mind. It's not prototyping anymore.
I mean, they didn't show the actual product, so maybe it'll look better in person. But yeah. And they also revealed it's going to have a new button on it. It's going to have a share button, just like the PlayStation. Oh.
I mean, I think that's stupid, but I mean, I think it's more stupid to not have a dedicated share button on controllers and things.
True.
Just because that's such a huge part of our culture now, for better or for worse.
True. Should we just roll this talk into the other controller-focused news topic?
We absolutely can.
So speaking of controllers, kind of combining our talk about the reveal of the new Xbox with this weird thing that Sony put out today, where they're
Indeed.
putting an add-on to their controller out that adds a couple new physical buttons, and then this touchscreen on the back of the controller. What is with Sony and putting things in the worst possible locations? I mean, Xbox and now Nintendo and now Xbox has this weird thing with having the worst names possible. Sony just likes to put, displays and, visual elements in the worst places possible. So,
Yeah.
What the hell, right?
Yeah, I love this right here. Sony has officially confirmed it's launching a rear button controller attachment for the DualShock 4 controller. The aptly named back button attachment, which is supposedly real and not a goof, I love that, adds 2 programmable buttons to the rear of the controller along with an OLED display, yes, on the back. That's not an editorialization. They put that in there. All to replicate a little of the high-end controller magic in the PlayStation corner.
So, I have a question, and it's a one-word question. Why? Why would you put the display there, of all places?
I have an answer, and it's a 2-worded answer. Why not?
Well, I thought your answer was going to be Japan.
Because Japan.
This is just head-scratching to me, because let's be honest here, okay? This thing does not have a battery in it, okay? So it's going to be drawing power through that auxiliary port on the bottom of the DualShock 4 controller. And the DualShock 4 controller has by far the weakest battery in the current generation of console to controllers. So you're drawing extra power from a controller that already is underpowered battery capacity wise for a display that you can't even fucking see. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yep. I do like the idea of an easily moddable or customizable controller.
Yeah, I do like this. And I do like the fact that, these are extra programmable buttons that could essentially write a macro to. And the fact that you could change things on the fly and you don't have to have it on a screw or an on television app or a display to show what profile you're using. No, you just have to turn over the controller to see the display. What? Why? Why would you do this?
Yeah, I assume that for the actual button positions, you get used to it, and then maybe if you just need to look at the display for something real quick. But it still is weird and out of place.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Or
Here's the thing:
oddly
is
placed.
that okay? People will say, "Yeah, but you can't see the light bar, and that gives you information." Yeah, but Sony put a second revision out for the controller that puts a little mirror that the light bar color gets kind of reflected up and over the lip of the controller and is shown on the touchpad. So that excuse that they know that they put these things in weird positions. And the fact that this is the final product, where the hell were they pointing the display before? Right?
You don't want to know. The controllers have no squares too.
The display was turned inside out, and it was displaying up inside the controller, right?
And it was backwards. It was a mess.
Yeah, and the display only displayed things in Esperanto.
Oh my. I'm familiar with Esperanto. One of my roommates in college learned how to speak it because he was weird.
It's just really, really strange. But this also makes me wonder if they're kind of priming gamers for an edition of something like this to the PlayStation 5. Because we've only really had patents, but we don't have any hard information about the PlayStation 5. As I grab a cough drop and nearly dropped my candy jar. We don't have any confirmation on what the PlayStation 5 is like. We have some renders of patents, but nothing that I've seen that's concrete. So part of me is just wondering if this is kind of priming things for this as an addition to the PlayStation 5's Dualshock controller.
Probably. A way to test the waters a little bit.
And it is a cheap add-on as well. I mean, this is only $30. So, yeah, this is a pretty cheap add-on, but it's just if this had a battery in it, if this had a secondary battery that played piggyback and ran things in parallel, where it would double the battery life as well, then I would say this would be a slam dunk. But
because then you get a couple extra buttons and a battery.
Yeah, I mean a lot of the accessories that you have for DualShock controllers that utilize that bottom auxiliary port, they're either a quick chat pad, which is what I use, that has a battery backup in it, or a power bank, because the controller's battery is shit. So like I said, I'm just kind of confused about this. Maybe we'll see some more information whenever this finally launches in a few weeks in the U.S. markets. This will be out in January 23rd. So a little over 5 weeks, or a little under 5 weeks from release date for this episode of the podcast. But it's just wow, right? Which kind of ties back into, the weird design of the Xbox, which, that's the best they can come up with. I was looking at the Xbox and was thinking heat issues. I can't be the only one, right? Well, heat issues and French fries.
Well, Xbox has always had heat issues. At least on their first go-round with a console.
True. Hey, but at least now they have a little grill on top so you could put a little hamburger on it, right?
Absolutely.
Put down some
Why
tin
didn't I see
foil
it
so
before?
you don't get grease down in the console, and use it as a grill.
It's a regular old grill, mate.
Yeah, George Foreman has nothing on them.
Other than just saying, like, seems like a good idea overall.
Yeah.
The first implementation is a bit odd, but, purchasable, quickly add-onable things to your controller. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, you just cut up
it'll
all
never
the
be as
hell,
good
so
as-
I couldn't really hear what you said.
It'll never be as good as a keyboard and mouse, but I think overall it's a good thing, giving people options.
Yeah, I have to admit that there was a lot of people talking about using the back, the screen, which is also options for buttons, as a way to move and be able to use action buttons at the same time. And I'm just thinking, wait, that's a problem? Right?
Yeah.
The glorious PC Gaming Master Race, right?
Woo!
It'll be interesting to
us.
see if DualShock for Windows actually has options for this, because if it does, that would be fun. I would be willing to get a secondary controller and have this on it.
Well, that sounds like a pretty big endorsement, actually.
If DualShock for Windows supports it, and it comes out and it's not shit, because I'm planning on modifying my controller to have a bigger battery on it. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, basically I need to open up the controller anyway to swap out the charging port. So, while I'm in there, right?
Yeah. One of the biggest issues on the PlayStation controller compared to the Xbox controller is that you have internal batteries. Whereas mine, just pop it out, change the batteries. I've got some rechargeable ones.
Yeah, but
Just charge
yeah,
it back
but also
like
I have the ability to use a battery backup, because the chat pad that I have, it has a bigger battery than the controller itself. I can just turn it on, and it'll start recharging the controller while I continue to play, seamlessly.
Yeah.
So double-edged
that's
sword,
definitely
right?
not a bad idea. Yeah. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
So, I failed or forgot to put Community Corner on the show notes. I can add that really quickly. Do want to just announce really quickly that the next 2 weeks there is no official Community Corner / Game Night on Mondays. This coming
something
week,
holidays.
Yeah. First there's going to be Christmas, then there's going to be New Year. I'm going to be traveling for Christmas. My New Year's plans got changed a little bit, but I'll probably be spending some extra time with my family, or taking a big-ass nap, or something like that. Playing my time at Portia. That's one of the biggest bright spots about these changes in our plans. I can play more good video games instead of just the kind of half decent ones that I usually pick to take on my laptop on these trips. My laptop sucks. It's just old. But anyways, just to announce that, if you're listening to this on the Friday of release, or very close to it, which is the 20th, there will be no community game night. The 23rd or the 30th of December. January 6th, things should be back to normal.
Well, as far as
for the
things
new
go, things around here, right?
Yeah.
I'm just hoping the connection will be better that time around, because I'm having to piece together a lot this time around.
I'm pretty sure it's Discord, because I'm having issues hearing you sometimes too. I don't know if it's not as bad, or if I'm just maybe better at listening. But you've also broken up a lot on this call.
Well, you're probably better at listening to begin with, but it's sort of like that scene in Wayne's World where they're in the drive-thru.
Yeah. Wayne's World.
Well, that's one bonus of the connection being shit. I have to listen to part of you singing.
So let me put Community Corner back in the show notes, and then we will run a quick discovery queue, and then I'm gonna pass out in my desk chair.
Yeah, but first of all, if you wish to contact us, you can do so, vglpodcast@gmail.com, or tweet us, VGLpodcast, on the Twitter. Okay, now we can do the doobly-doo. Or the Discovery Q.
I got one first. Me first. First.
Alright, go for it.
Let's see. Let me read the full title. Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. Drop.
You
Link.
are aware that you're putting that in the wrong spot in the show notes, right?
Am I?
Yep, because you did not clear out the other.
Oops. Well, let me just do that. But this looks like a short visual novel-esque style Vampire the Masquerade story/adventure. And I really like the vampire universe. So that looks pretty cool. I assume that that's been released ahead of or alongside the Vampire the Masquerade 2 or Bloodlines 2.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's a fairly decently priced visual novel instead of more promotional thing.
Yeah.
Or more competitively priced, I guess I should say. So I got Hades as my first one up, which was the first game to go on Epic exclusivity and has now gone on Steam. And hey, it's early access. You would think that it would be full release by this point, especially after sucking Epic's dick, right? And having all that money.
Yes.
Anyway, super giant game. So Bastion, it has a good pedigree behind it. However, it's still early access after all this point, after all this time, really. I mean, yeah, Bastion, Transistor, Pyre, but if you buy before January 2nd, you get a free copy of Pyre, which is interesting. I may pick it up when it goes on winter sale, if it goes on deep discount. I'm just not in a huge hurry for it right now.
Yeah. I got a game called, and I apologize because I'm probably going to say this wrong, Gensou Skydrift. This looks like this reminded me a lot of Kirby's Air Ride, but with like little witch girls. It's a Toho Project racing game. Race down courses set in the magical land of Gensou. Use the tag system to swap a rider and board. Lots of spell cards and last words. So, but it reminds me a lot, just looking at it, of Kirby's Air Ride, and I really like that game. So, I'm putting this on my list because it reminds me of Kirby.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I got Resident Evil 3. So, the latest in remasters. But it looks like they're adding a new asymmetric multiplayer mode, a new 1v4 online multiplayer game set, and the Resident Evil universe as well on top of this. Which we've seen games try to do the asymmetric multiplayer and fail. See Evolve. But having it as a tacked-on thing for a horror game may be spot on. And it does look very, very good overall, graphically. I will admit I'm not a Resident Evil fan, so, right?
Yeah. A lot of people are looking forward to the Resident Evil 3 remake, though, so...
Yeah.
Who knows? Alright. I'm 3 for 3 right now. That never happens. So this game is called Afterburn. It looks like an arcade, slightly sci-fi, voxel-esque, air flight combat game. Looks like it's got some simple missions, things like score attack, challenge, like daily challenge missions, short, simple storyline, no storyline. My apologies. I misread that. Just quick, fun dogfighting action. Said they were trying to, looks like, capture the essence of the Ace Combat series, but in a smaller, more compact package. So, looks pretty cool to me. It's only $9. Well, it's on sale right now. Normally it's $10. Right now it's only $8.50.
Well, I got Sarnia Wild Hearts, which was in the Game Awards several times for losing categories. It's Steam release. It came out last Thursday. It's essentially a rhythm game, pop, K-pop music video simulator. It's kind of weird, actually, but it looks interesting. A pop album video game, so there you go, right? But if you're a fan of rhythm games, you may be interested in it.
4 for 4. Nostros. Nostos? Not quite sure how to pronounce that. It is a MMORPG that can be played in VR. It's calling itself cross-platform, but it just looks like you can play on VR with people who are not playing in VR. Very sort of Asian mysticism themed MMO. Looks like it's exploring sites after some kind of war, and there's RPG stuff in it. Looks pretty neat.
Okay, I got something weird. It doesn't look good, but what the hell, right? I've gotten a few VR titles because of Boneworks last week. So I got Hand Simulator Survival. Basically mixing Rust with Surgeon Simulator, where you not only walk around, but you also have to manipulate your hands in certain ways to be able to do things. Gotta admit, the publisher / developer that's doing this, they do not have a good pedigree. It's just weird, but I have a feeling that it could be a meme game, so what the hell, right?
Yeah. My streak is over. I've had 3 that were not good. What is this? 4 that are not good.
I got something interesting, if you don't have one.
Go for it.
It's very mixed reviews, but I got Last Year. Online co-op survival. Team up with 4 of their classmates to survive against a 6th player controlling a deadly, horrifying fiend. In this evolution of multiplayer horror games inspired by classic horror stories. Now the question is, why is it rated poorly? Because looks like the developer has gone silent and there's not much of a player base. So if you have friends, it could be interesting. But there's it looks like there's been some patches, but there's just not been a lot going on with the game development afterwards. Or actually throwing out a lot of stuff. I don't know. It looks like it was just pushed out early access, maybe. But interesting. I mean, something to check out, especially if you like your Left 4 Dead-esque horror. Or horror survival.
So I got a game called Stay Out, MMORPG with third-person shooter elements. It says it's based on the spirit of stalking. It's an urban exploration, searching and exploration mystery, abandoned, or you're an abandoned, forgotten by humanity. Look, it looks very Chernobyl-esque. I don't know if you ever played the game Chernobyl, or I guess are familiar with the real world Chernobyl, but it's very Soviet.
You mean Stalker?
Stalker?
The Stalker series that takes place in Chernobyl as well?
Possibly. Stalker. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, Stalker, because it's Shadow of Chernobyl is the title for the first one.
That's why I was asking.
Of Stalker. Yeah, maybe that is what I'm thinking of. But it reminds me of that in the visual aspect. But whereas Stalker was more first-person shooter-esque, this is MMO related. But still, it brings out that vibe. So, I think it looks pretty neat.
Okay, I got something odd. Not really for me, but I can think of one person that would definitely be into it. Onset. This is a sandbox game. Onset is a sandbox, open world multiplayer sandbox without predefined goals. Create and host your very own experience in Onset using Lua scripting functions, whether it's roleplay, cops and robbers, or classic free roam, or just enjoy different game modes created by players. So essentially, this is trying to capture some of the magic from Gary's mod, but with it built from the ground up to support some more roleplay and gameplay modes from the outset. It does look like they're playing a very long early access run. I mean, it's interesting. It's very interesting, actually. I'm not seeing anything else about this company, though, so that could just be, this could be their first ambitious title that they never finish, or what, but, right?
Well,
I was going to say, Gary's mod hasn't really had a successful spiritual successor, so maybe this could be it, right?
Possibly. Is this a mobile game that's got a PC port? Warhammer, Chaos, and Conquest. I guess since I'm talking about it for a second, I'll drop a link in here. It looks like a mobile title, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is. Warhammer, Chaos, and Conquest. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, that's too many results. Narrow it down.
That would be yes.
Okay.
Let's just put it this
Cool.
way. Typing in that title with mobile. Actually, this looks familiar. I think I may have played this at one point. Or seen it. I think I've seen it.
Well, it's free to play. I might check it out at some point, but it doesn't look like a game that'll stick with me long term.
Well,
Right.
Good for time killing, pay to win. A lot of pay to win. Brutally pay to win. Nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. So I got Virgo versus the Zodiac. Dethrone the Zodiac, revive the Golden Age, and purge the heretics that swarm the galaxy is Virgo, the Queen of Purity. This is a very, very tiny game. There's only a handful of reviews. But it actually has a kind of a charming art style to it. It has a very, in between Atari and Nintendo Entertainment System graphic style. But then they have the very modern-esque portraits for cutscenes. So it's interesting. And it looks like it's been pretty well received overall, with people saying that it reminds them of the old Mario RPG games. So yeah, it looks interesting. It's something to check out if you're into that sort of thing. A sci-fi fantasy JRPG inspired by Mario and Luigi RPG series. So there you go. And the Mother RPG series. So Earthbound. This could get some weird shit.
Alright. I'm through my entire queue. My last
I got
garbage.
2 more after this one. I got Jamestown
Okay.
Plus. Not much to talk about here. It's a HD remaster of Jamestown, which was a pretty decent top-down, not twin stick, but top-down shooter. Looks like they have added proper co-op, though, which the original didn't, if I recall correctly. Two all new handcrafted levels set on Phomos and Deimos, the moons of Mars. New ships, countless improvements, large and small, with a lot more weapons as well. So yeah, I mean, just basically bigger and badder. And it looks like the owners of Jamestown get 73% off to be their launch week. So that's actually tempting for sub $5. So I actually had fun with it. I don't think I've ever beat it though. That looks like shit. And well, that's porn. I mean, that's straight up porn.
Yay, porn. The internet is for porn. Porn.
Thank you, Avenue Q.
You're welcome. So was that that was the last thing in your queue?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, just poorly rendered tits.
Yay, tits. So I'm gonna say, hey Rage, hit him with the socials.
Well, I've been Caffeine Rage. You can find me over on YouTube, Gaming with Caffeine Rage. You can find me on Twitter, Gaming with CR, or you can be my friend on Steam, Caffeine Rage there as well. You've been
Gaming Psychologist. You can find me on the YouTubes by searching for Gaming Psychologist, on Twitter at JMA4707, and you can be friends with me on Steam by sending a friend request to JArthur4707.
And if you wish to know exactly what episode of the podcast you're coming from, as I just punch my mic, I'll just redo that one, and you could just leave the failed one in, right?
Sounds good.
If you wish to let them know exactly what episode of the podcast you're coming from, the password for this week is connection difficulties. Connection difficulties, because it's been a tough one to understand you, more so than usual this week.
Yeah, it's gone both ways, for sure.
Yeah.
But, c'est la vie.
Yeah, it's
Craig recording, I assume, is going to be pretty useless tonight. So hopefully we don't have any other issues.
Yeah, I hope not. Because basically we won't have one this week. We'll have Franken content. Because, damn.
All's well and... Yeah.
Even though it sounds a little bit better now. Quite the way to end our final recording of the year, isn't it? Because we have a couple canned episodes to round out the year to come back into 2020, which is going to be a shitstorm.
Indeed. Next week, you're going to have our prepared episode that is our Christmas special, which I suppose doesn't get too Christmassy, honestly. And then after that, we're going to have a Franken bonus content episode.
Well,
we've got
I was going to say, let's be perfectly honest on the Christmas episode. By the time that releases, I think everybody will be sick and fucking tired of Christmas.
That's true. Fuck Christmas. Bah humbug.
God bless us, everyone. But anyway, you were saying the next episode?
Yeah, so the pre-recorded one for the Christmas special, and then after that, we have got an ass load of backlog of content that's bonus / Franken content. So we're gonna run a Franken episode, and then after that, we'll be back to normal. Starting January the 7th, we'll be recording, and that week's episode will be a normal one.
No, it won't.
Well, it'll be normal for us.
No, it won't.
It'll be a Game Club episode.
Exactly.
Or is that the...
That's what I'm trying to say. It's not a normal episode because it's Game Club.
Well, I think of Game Club, though, as part of our normal shtick, but I see what you mean, so fair play.
No, it's our abnormal episode. Plus, hopefully by then, maybe by, the 21st, we'll actually have some news to talk about because January is already always damn slow. It's kind of funny, just looking at this because we have the 7th, which will be Game Club, the 14th, which will be the VGL Awards. We'll have one normal episode, then we're back to Game Club.
Mm-hmm. Ah, well. It'll just be a good time.
Yep. Good time for some, at least, right?
It'll be a good time for us. I hope.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because you were teasing the package last week, and yeah, I haven't been able to get it because it rained all day today, so I'll have to wait till next year to find out what the hell you sent me, if I share that at all or remember it.
Well, hopefully you get it tomorrow and you enjoy.
And you broke up there. I heard, hopefully you get it tomorrow.
And you enjoy.
Oh no, should I be worried? I'm worried.
You should always be worried with me.
It's just a pack of dicks, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Surprise!
Well, damn, there goes Christmas for you.
Big bag of dicks. Alright, buddy. Take us home.
Well, if you wish to contact us about this absolute madness, you can do so at VGLpodcast@gmail.com with your letters, voicemails, game-related topics, or just tweet to us VGL Podcast on the Twitter. Our lovely, lovely patrons are to blame for this absolute madness. You can find out more at patreon.com/VGL Podcast. Or you could go to our Podbean, VGLpodcast.podbean.com, which hosts the show notes, the RSS feed, links to all our stuff online, or you can find us on your podcatcher of choice. Our intro and outro music is On the Ground by Kevin McLeod, and our Discovery Key music is Doobly Doo by the same artist. You can find his work over at ecomputech.com, and
as always, as is low blah 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 blah. Fuck. I'm gonna do that again. As always, as his lovely music starts to roll across my voice. Bye now.
see you next year.